Since its 2013 release, Frozen was and remains one of the biggest hits in the Disney canon. I mean, what's not to love? There's action, comedy, superpowers, twists, and of course, a happily ever after. But what if there is a little more to the story than meets the eye? Welcome back, everyone. I am your host, Kennedy, and today we are taking an icy and potentially terrifying walk down memory lane to the land of Elsa, Anna, and my personal favorite, Olaf. So grab your parka and get ready, because this is the top 10 terrifying Disney Frozen theories you need to pray aren't real. Starting us off at number 10, Hans can time travel. The villain of Frozen, Hans, is not a hard person to hate. At the end of the first movie, after imprisoning Anna and, just trying to ruin everything, Hans is arrested and banished from Arendelle for his treason and attempting to take out the royal sisters. But what if the ending was a little more complicated than we are led to believe? This theory pointed out that in Big Hero 6, there is an Easter egg where if you pay very close attention, you'll see a wanted poster for Hans in the police station. Now, for all of this to make sense, that would have to mean that Hans can time travel, since Big Hero 6 and Frozen are set like hundreds of years apart. Now, this would mean that after being exiled from Arendelle, he managed to travel to a new time in the universe where no one knew his evil deeds and start over. But of course, in this new time, he's wanted, meaning that there is a whole other group of people he could have hurt, backstabbed, or most terrifyingly of all, killed. So let's just hope this Easter egg is one that turns out to be unfounded. Coming in at number 9, the Ice Spirit. This next theory imagines not only a crossover with another Disney film, but a cross-universe theory outside of the Disney canon. It begins by stating that in Frozen 2, during the song Show Yourself, you can see Elsa's mom calling to the siren. Now, this is all possible because of her family's past using dark magic in order to use the power of the Ice Spirit, hence why Elsa has ice powers in the first place. Now, the theory part of all of this comes into play from an episode of Once Upon a Time, where Elsa's character in that show explained that Elsa's mom has an ancestor called Olaf, who also happens to have ice powers. So with that in mind, this theory suggests that when Elsa is singing Let It Go, she was actually possessed by her ancestor Olaf's ghost, who she then managed to bring back to life in snowman form. I mean, does it require a little bit of stretching to make it all work? I mean, kinda, but the idea that my sweet little Olaf was actually the one possessing Elsa is definitely not something I want to be true. Coming in at number 8, Tarzan Crossover. Just like every other franchise on the planet, there are tons of fans out there who try to find links to interconnect as many of the Disney movies into one universe as possible. And one of the most wild ones I have ever read about is the Tarzan and Frozen crossover. So if you've seen Frozen, you'll recall that a major plot point in the beginning of the film is that the Queen and King of Arendelle get tragically lost at sea when Elsa and Anna are young. And while it isn't explicitly said, it is presumed that the pair die at sea. However, many fans speculate that their fate could actually have been a bit more complicated than that. One fan theory suggests that while the ship almost definitely capsized and sank, that they did not go down with it, and instead became stranded on a deserted island. From there, fans have speculated that the Queen was actually pregnant at the time they became stranded, gave birth, and tragically died shortly after, and that offspring of the royal couple was none other than Tarzan. Coming in at number 7, Walt Disney. This next one is more of a conspiracy, and while I will admit it is a bit far-fetched, it would also be very creepy if it turned out to be true. The conspiracy begins back in the year 1972, after the LA Times reported that Mr. Walt Disney was apparently interested in the cryogenic process. And while it is widely accepted that Mr. Disney was cremated, it began a huge conspiracy that he was actually cryogenically frozen and is hidden somewhere on the Disney property. This rumor only continued to grow and grow as the years went went by, and eventually Google search related to Disney's possible Frozen body was off the charts. Now, how does this relate to the smash hit film? Well, some fans are claiming that the Disney studio chose the name Frozen to distract people from the truth. Plus, now if you search Disney Frozen, it will take quite a bit of searching before you come across this conspiracy. One YouTuber even pointed out that, quote, like a lot of Disney movies, Frozen is loosely based off of an old fairy tale called The Snow Queens by Hans Christian Andersen. It could have been called anything, The Ice Princess, or Snow Sisters, for example. I mean, do I think that Walt Disney is cryogenically frozen in secret and that the Disney creators named a hit movie Frozen to get the scent off their tracks? I mean, I am not totally sold, but hey, I guess stranger things have turned out to be true. Coming in at number 6, the ship. Okay, so I think it's pretty fair to say that not every single fan theory can always coexist. So while there are some out there who believe that Tarzan is the long-lost brother of the Arendelle Kingdom, there are others out there that believe Frozen is linked to a different movie entirely, The Little Mermaid. The idea with this theory is that the ship that we see at the bottom of the ocean in The Little Mermaid is actually the exact same one the king and queen were tragically lost at sea on. Now, before I get into this theory, there is another really popular theory that states Rapunzel is the cousin of Elsa and Anna, meaning that either the king or queen of Corona would be the brother or sister of either the king or queen of Arendelle. So because of that theory, it's been suggested that the mysterious trip the royal couple were on was in fact to visit the kingdom of Corona. Now, with that in mind, we know Frozen is set in Norway, Tangled is set in Germany, and The Little Mermaid is set in Denmark. And Denmark is roughly halfway between the other two, so if fans are correct, that means on their way to visit Germany, their ship sank and became the ship Ariel explores in The Little Mermaid. What do you think? Could it be the same ship? Coming in at number 5, the Trolls and Kristoff. While the Trolls are written to be savers of the day and beloved family of Kristoff, there are some fans out there who are not so inclined to believe the story at face value. And the reason all has to do with traditional Scandinavian folklore. So first things first, although Frozen is obviously set in a fictitious land called Arendelle, it is quite heavily based on Norway and Scandinavian culture. And apparently, in Scandinavian folklore, trolls are actually much more untrustworthy than Frozen makes them out to be. So with that in mind, there are some out there that believe Kristoff was actually kidnapped by the trolls rather than adopted, meaning that he may not have actually been an orphan at all. The theory relies on the fact that we never actually explicitly see Kristoff lose his parents, and so it's fair to assume he could have been related to one of the ice harvesters. Then early on in the movie, we see the young Kristoff follow the royals who lead him to the trolls, and from there, a troll named Bolda finds him and quickly decides to keep Kristoff as her own. From that point forward, Kristoff becomes brainwashed and amalgamated into the troll's way of life and completely forgets the life he had before. I mean, talk about an evil theory. Coming in at number 4, memory loss. In Frozen 2, the dad tells Anna and Elsa a story of the enchanted forest and the Northuldra before the mom sings them a song and puts them to sleep. However, fans have pointed out the weird part of this is how the dad paints the Northuldra as these monstrous people, and the mom doesn't really say anything, despite that it's her heritage and that she was the one who saved him in the first place. Well, here is where the theory begins. Some fans believe that after the mom saves the dad, they go back to the castle, and when the dad is questioned after being the only one to return, the mom ends up becoming a prisoner. However, already in love with her, the dad convinces the guards to take her to the trolls, who then wipe her memory of anything Northuldra so that she can be released as a prisoner of war and the pair can marry. I mean, there is normal evil, and then there is casting a memory spell on your spouse so that they don't remember their heritage evil. Plus, this also would connect the evil troll theory and explain why the dad would already know of the trolls and where to take Elsa in the first movie. So yeah, it would be pretty messed up if this turned out to be true. Coming in at number 3, Kristoff's coat. When it comes to the animal sidekicks in any Disney movie, there is a general consensus that they are too good for this world and that nothing bad should ever happen to them. And of course, this feeling carries through to the adorable reindeer Sven. Now, one of the most wonderful parts about Sven is the sweet backstory and friendship he has with Kristoff. The pair meet as calf and toddler, respectively, and become attached at the hip, taking on the world together. However, there is a theory out there that is Bambi level tragic and would change quite literally everything about the dynamic of their relationship. Essentially, the theory points out that Kristoff's coat appears to be made from reindeer fur, and that as a baby, we see Kristoff wrapped in a reindeer pelt. Now, the dark part is that some out there believe the pelt is in fact from Sven's mother, and that the ice harvesters must have killed Sven's mother and then wrapped young Kristoff in her pelt. Now smelling of his dead mother, Sven became attached, and Kristoff is just going through life wearing the dead carcass of his best friend's mom on his back. I mean, I don't even want to go there. Coming in at number 2, the parents. There are quite a few theories surrounding the parents of Anna and Elsa. However, this one might just be the darkest one I came across. The theory starts off by pointing out that the Queen and King don't exactly deal with Elsa's powers in the healthiest way. You know, the shame, the guilt, and hiding her away from the public and all only made matters worse. What if that was actually all a part of their master evil plan the whole time? There are some fans out there that theorize Elsa's parents treated her this way as they were trying to turn her into a weapon of war that could be used against their enemies, and that their questionable handling of her gifts was all to make her more dangerous. Plus, if she remained a secret, then no one could see her coming. One of the main pieces of evidence behind this theory is that Hans somehow magically had shackles ready to go in the castle to imprison Anna. But many have pointed out that Hans wouldn't exactly have had the time to create these shackles, which then led fans to deduce that they would have already had to be there in the first place. Which then of course would mean that long ago the King and Queen created this prison with the idea to contain Elsa. I mean, if that turned out to be true, that would put them up there with some of the most evil parents in Disney history. And last up in our number 1 spot, Hans isn't the villain. So back to those pesky little Norse trolls, this theory popped up on Reddit from the user Individual Mushroom 3, and let's just say it points out a few more reasons why those trolls should not be trusted. Reddit user starts off by saying that the change in Hans from Disney prince to Disney villain is extremely sudden, and that he thinks the trolls are actually behind the personality shift. Reddit friend explains that when Kristoff takes Anna to the trolls to save her, they make it clear that she's the perfect match for Kristoff. However, when Kristoff tells them during the song that Anna is engaged to someone else, the trolls sing so she's a bit of a fixer-upper, her brain's a bit betwixt, get the fiancé out of the way, and the whole thing will be fixed. This theory suggests that the trolls are so fixated on fixing up Kristoff and Anna that they cast a spell on Hans to turn him into the villain, so that Anna will leave him and instead end up with Kristoff. And if this turns out to be true, this would essentially mean that the lovable singing trolls are the real villains the whole time. Well, there you have it, friends. I hope you liked this video. If you did, make sure to hit that subscribe button and let me know of any other terrifying fan theories in the comments below. See you next time.